I had never been no hero, Wade. Only battle I seen. We was in retreat. My foot got shot off by one of my own men. You try telling that story to your boy. See how he looks at you then.
What is up, and welcome back to another episode of Rotten Potatoes, the podcast where four friends sit around and review movies that you absolutely should have seen already, but at least one of us hasn't. My name's Tyler, and I'm here with three of my best friends. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
My name's Scott.
My name is Jake.
My name's Zach.
That is the cleanest that we've gotten through introductions
Crushed
in a long time.
That was way better than Zach's episode.
Yeah,
That
Zach.
wasn't my fault. You guys screwed that up.
You called us guests.
Yeah.
You're the guest.
I'm tired of being the guest. I was the host. On my episode, I get to be the host.
That's fair.
Thank you.
Should I start doing that, listing like the host and then the three guests on every episode?
I like that.
You know what I appreciate about Tyler's intros is he's the only one that never insults any of us, I feel like.
Wait, I insult you guys?
all the time.
All the time.
Regularly.
Yeah.
Even outside of
it's
the episode,
insulting
in our episode
that you don't
descriptions.
remember.
Scott doesn't think about us.
Well, we are reviewing a really fun movie, a really fun remake, actually.
Yeah.
310 to Yuma.
We all know how Jake loves remakes.
And how much he loves Westerns, though.
I'm not
One of those things
anti
is untrue.
remake all the time, you know?
Yeah.
But
Okay, another like remake into a Western. What do you think about The Magnificent Seven?
I thought the Magnificent Seven remake was really fun. Scott and I saw that in a theater. I don't remember
Near you.
why. And I had a good time. I had a really good time.
Yeah. So, see, Scott, sometimes he likes them.
That one's a remake of a remake.
Yeah,
I think the Magnificent Seven was an adaptation or like a
Yes.
Yeah.
modification of Seven Samurai.
Yes. Adaptation's a
yeah.
good word.
So it's a
choice.
remake of an adaptation.
But the Denzel version, is that the definitive
But so's
version for you?
this.
I would say that the old Magnificent Seven is still the definitive for
That's
me.
your favorite one?
But what is this an adaptation of?
This is also a remake of an adaptation. So the movie, the old 310 to Yuma, made by Columbia Pictures, was an adaptation of a novella.
I hadn't seen the old one or the new one before this. Which I think kind of helps me. I think going into a remake that sometimes can help me because, like, honestly, for me, a lot of the times it's the first thing I saw, and
Right.
that is the definitive.
It's
version.
gospel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Do you like Jeff Bridges?
I do like Jeff Bridges.
You might like the old one.
What?
The old, which one of this?
Yeah, 310. Isn't he in the original 310?
No.
Oh.
I think you're thinking of
You're
the
thinking of the remake of True Grit.
Oh, that's what I am thinking. And he's in the new one.
I thought that's why you were saying this.
Do you like Jeff Bridges and Matt Damon?
I do.
Well, then you might like the 1950s 310 to Yuma.
Like, was Jeff Bridges acting back then?
I think Jeff Bridges was a child back then.
Yeah, he was the son.
You may really like Harrison Ford in Frequency. He's really good at that.
I heard that he crushed it in Frequency.
Doing really great things in baseball movies like The Rookie.
Yeah.
He was the Frequency.
He's the frequency I'm on.
I like that.
But yeah, I picked this movie mostly because we've had I think a really fun time being hit or miss with our overall anticipation of Westerns. Some modern or neo-Westerns haven't done as well. And I wanted to give it another shot with a modern Western for us to go through and see what everybody thinks. What is happening?
I don't know. I just looked up and Zach was laughing.
I had the thought, like, do we anticipate a Western is going to be worse if Jake picks it versus if Tyler picks it?
I think the assumption is that if I pick it, it's going to be worse.
I thought the assumption
I thought
for
it'd be
these
that it'd be
two
better.
was that it would be better.
No.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
that
think.
My
Have
assumption
you
is that
picked
I would
any-
like a Tyler Western more.
Have you picked a Western before this?
Yes.
What did you pick?
Open Range.
No, I
thought
picked
Scott picked
Open
Open
Range.
Oh, you picked Open
You
Range.
picked No Country,
Which is a neo-Western.
which is our
But
favorite.
that's a top 10 movie
and
for us.
I definitely picked a Western last season.
Like
Did you pick
like a proper
Tombstone?
Western. I picked Tombstone.
Did you pick
My cousin Vinny.
Yeah.
the Clint Eastwood and Morgan Freeman one?
Yeah, no, I picked that one.
You picked that one. What's
I don't
that
think
one called?
Unforgiven. I don't think anybody's nominated a Clint Eastwood movie but me.
Maybe I didn't.
No, you have.
Oh yeah,
Million Dollar Baby.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't nominate
Legends
a
of the
Western.
Fall?
Well, it's not a Western. Maybe I didn't nominate a Western last year, but I think I had one slated and then pulled it.
Okay.
But anyway,
I've
I
taken
picked
your
this-
notes. Okay?
Yeah.
I've got better Westerns now.
I know. You're doing
Footloose
great.
is kind of a Western.
You're doing great, Jake. I think I have.
I guessed right.
I'm super impressed.
I guessed right. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's still on here.
What is that? That's been on there for 2 years and you nailed it.
We haven't used that button since I took control from Tyler.
That's true.
Yeah.
Since the day after my birthday in
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
When I had to watch Footloose on my birthday and hate it.
Well, I picked this because I was excited for us to do a modern day made Western. And, I saw this years ago when it came out. I was, 17 at the time and loved it in theaters. And I don't think I've really seen it a lot since then. A lot of movies I watch over and over and over again. And this I might have only seen one or two other times before. Enough to really remember the plot, but not remember a lot of the characters. And so I'm excited to hear what you guys think about it. But
What did you think rewatching it?
before I get into that, Scott, why don't you hit us with a little bit of just the facts about this movie?
Yeah, sure. This was directed by James Mangold. It was written by Halstead Wellis and Michael Brandt and Derek Haas. It released September 7th, 2007, has a runtime of 122 minutes. Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 89%. IMDb gave it a 7.7. Had a $71 million box office on a $55 million budget. So not a super great ROI, but at least it did make money. Didn't win any awards, but it was nominated for Best Score and Best Sound Mix.
Nice. I'll answer your question, Jake, but who all was late bloomers to this?
I think just Jake.
I haven't seen it.
Okay. I really liked it watching it again this time. I probably liked it less than I remember liking it by a little bit. But I still thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's hilarious to me that we have like a British and Australian actor
That made me a little bit mad when I was watching it. I was thinking about it.
that like I feel like kind of crushed the American West. Like you don't think they did?
I think they did. And
Oh,
I'm saying it made me mad.
It made you
I
mad,
watched it. I was
yeah.
like, why? Let's get some Americans in here, guys.
I kind of loved that happened. I didn't even think about it consciously until like pretty much the end of the movie. I was like, oh my gosh, both of them have accents in real life. Mm-hmm. Like that's so funny. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Scott, you had seen this before.
Yeah, I did. And I would say I definitely liked it more this time than I did last time. When I watched it last time, I watched it pretty much when it came out. So I was around 17. And at the time, I probably just had a less refined palate for movies not going how I wanted them to go. And I hated that the main character died at the end. And so it kind of ruined the movie for me a little bit. Like I remember with like thinking it was like a fun movie, but I was like, but he died. So like, what's the point of this? Like not realizing that there's more to a movie than just the main character winning at everything that they do. And so I really enjoyed it. I mean, I think Christian Bale is fantastic. I think Maximus Decimus Meridius is great.
Harrison Ford.
I was very entertained.
Is this what you came for?
This is exactly what I loved it. I thought they did great. I also think the secondary character, like the leader of the gang, like his number 2, Ben Foster.
Oh my God.
Did excellent. Like he was someone that I loved hating. He was so like evil and maniacal and like gave me shrills. Like he is one of the scarier characters I think we've seen in a movie in a while on our pod. So I thought it was just executed great. Cinematography was great. Score was great. Lighting was great. This is going to get a pretty high rating for me, actually.
I would also argue that Christian Bale, I forget his name in the movie, Dan, I would argue that he wins pretty big time, honestly, even though he dies.
Yeah.
I think that
He is redeemed personally to his son.
I think he's redeemed to his son and in probably an even bigger way than if he didn't die.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. He
think
gave his life for this cause.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zach, you had seen this before, and I remember like us talking about this early in our friendship as this being a movie that you really liked a lot.
Yeah.
What did you think watching it back this time?
Similarly to you, probably a little bit less than I did back in the day. This was a movie that my dad really liked back when it came out, and so he would watch it a lot, and then my brother and I would watch it with him, and so it's fun to watch a Western with your dad. It's like the first Western I had probably ever seen, and I remember like as a, I don't know, preteen kid thinking this movie was really cool. This was like around, I think this must have been after Batman Begins, but before Dark Knight, where I watched Batman Begins and loved Christian Bale, and so just thought he was the best actor of all time. And then this came out and was like, oh my gosh, like this confirms it. He's the best actor of all time. So I loved it when I was younger, and I still really like it. I think that it holds up. I don't know if I liked it as much as I did back then, but overall, I have a really good time with it. I think Russell Crowe's good. I think James Mangold is a solid director, and he's gone on to make some good movies. I'm excited to see him do Dial of Destiny.
Oh, yeah.
Indiana Jones.
The new Indy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what it's called?
Yeah, Dial of Destiny.
Yeah, it's about sundials.
It's a pretty dumb name.
Honestly, it just sounds like you're saying I love Destiny, but you have like a lisp.
That's fair. Yeah.
You should say it again.
Isle of Destiny.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll be honest. I think it's a Dial of Destiny the first time. Did you not say
I
that?
did say Dial of Destiny. That's the movie Dial of Destiny.
Okay, yeah.
How much
Dial
do you
of
love
Destiny,
it,
Well, I haven't seen it,
Wait, it's not out yet?
but I do already love it.
Is Dial of Destiny better or worse than Isle of Destiny for you guys?
What's Isle of Destiny?
Probably worse.
Wait, hold on. It's called Dial or Isle?
It's called Dial with a D.
Okay.
Dial.
Okay, yeah, Dial's dumb.
Yeah.
Isle would be slightly better.
maybe cool.
Yeah.
Is it
But
Isle
Dial-
like AISLE or ISLE?
Oh, I assumed ISLE.
That's what I assumed as well.
I like AI.
But AI,
Like he's in a
occurred to
supermarket.
me.
That's still better than Dial, but worse than ISLE.
This is the official beginning of a petition to get Isle of Destiny created as a short.
I feel like Isle of Destiny, AISLE,
Yeah.
is like an Adam Sandler movie. Not really a
Like he
Mangold
finds
movie.
a magic tuna can and like
Exactly. Yeah.
That honestly sounds like something Adam
Is
Sandler would be in.
transported is transported to the island of
Sounds like
Hawaii,
within the Click universe.
where
or something.
he where he falls in love with Jennifer Aniston, and
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing about every Adam Sandler movie to me is that he's pulling all the hot chicks.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, man.
Hot chicks like funny guys.
But Adam Sandler?
He's. I mean, I was gonna say he's
You
funny,
almost
but
said
I
he's
don't know
funny.
if I.
Funny?
I don't know if I think that.
funny guy can mean a lot of things.
It's true. Yeah.
Jake, you were a late bloomer to this. What did you think?
I was expecting to like this, and I did like it. Like, you know, like Christian Bale, Russell Crowe, a Western. Really, what more can you ask for? I was a little bit nervous because I feel like 2000s Westerns, I don't like a lot of them. I think now, like in the 2010s and the 2020s, I think we're getting some better ones, and maybe I don't know if it's like a revival, but we're seeing a few more that I like more. But I enjoyed this movie, and it's probably something I'll go back to and watch again several more times. I liked it a lot. I don't know that I have any more for my initial takes. I liked it. Good time.
I want to go back, Scott, to something that you said, because I've been wanting to talk about this literally since I picked it. Ben Foster
Oh yeah.
freaking kills this role.
Yep.
And like he's really, honestly, like as I think about it, just such an underrated actor.
That's Charlie, right?
Charlie.
Okay.
Mhm. Like he is in, like he's not in a lot of movies, and he's rarely ever the leading man, but he always delivers. And he has such a wide range, and his like villainy is so real feeling in this. Like you're right, he's the most evil character we've seen in a long time, but it feels honest. Like it feels like
that's part of why he's scary. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I could see him being real.
right. Yeah, like he feels like a real person in this period. And I loved his, not only his like villainy, but he like really bought in to the boss. I forget his name.
Well, that's part of
Ben.
why.
He buys into Ben's like loyalty so much that when he shoots him at the end, like he goes to defend himself, but you know, Ben gets the draw on him and he looks so still loyal. Like as he's dying, like he's still loyal to him. And like that's such a compelling villain to me because it's, you know, like there's something to being truly evil but still having some sort of code that you live by, even if it's a very twisted code. Like he's not an anarchist. It's not all about chaos. He's obsessed with order and structure. And, you know, when one of the other gang members, you know, kind of says, well, you know, Ben got himself arrested. Like, are we really going to go 80 miles back the other direction to save him? He like turns on that guy. Like he has so much loyalty toward Ben. And I think it makes for such a compelling villain to me.
Lawful evil on the D&D alignment chart.
Oh, lawful evil.
Yeah.
Got it.
I use the D&D alignment chart to describe people a lot in my head. It kind of helps me.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know that was from D&D. I've seen that chart
Like
everywhere.
chaotic loving.
Yeah,
or
but I had
something.
no idea
good.
that was from D&D.
You have like good, neutral,
Yeah,
evil, and then lawful, chaotic, neutral.
yeah.
It's like
I just didn't know it was from D&D.
yeah.
So it was evil lawful.
Where
Is
do
that
you
what
find
said?
yourself
Yeah.
on the scale, Jake?
Dude, I would like to say neutral good because that's the most good.
Do you think Scott's the chaotic evil?
I think Scott's chaotic.
Scott is chaotic.
No, I think
evil.
Scott's chaotic neutral.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, I won't say evil. But
I think chaotic good.
I might say chaotic evil.
Yeah, I'm just out here doing all kinds of.
Evil stuff.
I'm basically the Joker.
yeah, kinda. Yeah,
God.
kinda. Yeah. What?
He would be
you're-
chaotic evil, right?
Yeah, you're the meme. You're the 4chan guy who's basically the Joker.
I
Wait,
think
what?
you've lost all of us.
Nah, never mind.
Jake and Zach, what do you guys think about Ben Foster in this role and maybe his character Charlie
I
Prince?
thought he did very good. I was very afraid of him, but I didn't. Like you were saying, it felt very believable. Like I feel like I'm trying to I feel like maybe like it would have been maybe hard to buy somebody being like, oh, the boss, we're gonna all die to go save the boss. But I don't know. I feel like he sold it to me, and I didn't question it. You know, so I thought he was very good. He was very scary. You know, like he was the best shot, and he was the quickest, and I was very afraid of him.
I thought it's super interesting too that it was then the boss's decision to kill him at the end. Like I think in that moment he felt like he was like loyal and ferocious to a fault. Like he was too like. If he let him go this time, there was going to be no stopping him, essentially, like from whatever would be next. And so he was like, I have to do this.
In an interview about the movie, Russell Crowe said that he, from the get-go, really felt like that ending made so much sense to him because he felt like his character, Ben, in order to keep a gang like this going for so long and have no one try and usurp him, that he probably every couple of years just killed them all and started over. And like that this was like the third iteration of the gang. And, you know, it had grown outside of his control. Like he recognized they had grown outside of his control and he just decided to clean house and start over.
I feel like that thought kind of helps me overcome. I feel like I didn't buy the ending a little bit. And I kind of looked past it and I was like, I still liked the movie, but I don't know that I bought his like
his motivation for doing that.
For like killing them all and turning himself in.
Right.
But I feel like that explanation of it kind of helps me overcome that.
Yeah, it's almost like for him as a character, it's almost like he's reached the end of the game and now he's just starting over to play again. Like, you know, even saying like, I've broken out of Yuma prison 3 times now or 2 times now. It, you know, it probably is like, that's what triggers him. Like he's going back to his respawn point, basically, you know, like that's kind of like his motivation to it is it's like, okay, time to clean the slate, go back to where it always starts for me, breaking out of Yuma prison. And it's like replaying a video game for him, you know?
Well, and I kind of separate those two things, like the killing of his his squad and then turning himself in were like with separate motivations. I feel like
Sure.
Like I feel like what we just talked about was like, yeah, turning over the squad. Maybe he felt like it was at the point where he couldn't control it anymore. But the turning it in was solely for Christian Bale's character and for the son's
And for the
view
son,
of the dad. So like I think either way he probably would have tried to turn himself in, but the only way he could have done that as well was to kill. Like they wouldn't have let him turn himself in.
Yeah, but like still like, you know, so say you meet a guy and you want to help him look good to his son, and then a bunch of guys like help you get out, but you still want to help this guy look good to his son. Would you murder all your friends who did all that for you? You know, like
Well,
If I was already a murderer and a
that's the thing.
scoundrel and wasn't honestly super attached to these guys, and this person finally shared something super compelling with me and I felt drawn to him, I might, yeah.
Yeah, because that's what like
Because he
I
was
mean-
about to kill him.
Well, and I really believed what he said to the son. Sorry, what he said to the son in the hotel room, not 20 minutes before, when the son's like, "I've seen you. You're not all bad," and he says, "I promise you, I am. Like, you can't run a gang like this and not be as evil as hell." And like I really believed him in that moment. I think he really is truly evil. And I believed him when he said, you know, if I had a gun in those tunnels, I would have used it to kill you, kid. Like, I kind of believe him. Like, he doesn't kill needlessly, but anyone who stands in his way or that he just doesn't totally like is dead. Like, he stabbed that one guy with a fork to death just for being, I don't know, annoying.
Yeah, I mean, that guy was like, I mean, I guess it was a little more than annoying, and like to an evil guy, I could see it. Like, you know, like this guy is like provoking him specifically,
Right.
you know, and like talking about his mother or whatever. So
No,
like,
it was a different person, but yeah.
it was.
The old guy he killed, like in
Yeah.
blind rage for talking
Yeah.
about his mother.
Yeah, you're right.
He tackled him off the horse, and he was like, "Even bad men care about their mamas," and then throws him off the cliff. Like,
Yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, like, and it makes sense. Like, if he can kill somebody, it's gonna help him. So, like, yeah, I like that. Like, it was an evil move, but it didn't feel like, I don't know, like totally like killing that guy. It was like, it was in his best interest still.
that, and yeah, I think I agree with you. I think that's what I mean. Like, I don't think he kills wantonly. Like, I think Charlie kills wantonly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think Charlie likes killing people.
Yeah.
I think Ben only kills people that he needs to kill, but just doesn't care about it. Like, feels no emotion over it.
I was trying to get a read on how Ben saw himself, because in a way I felt like he almost saw himself as a Robin Hood type guy, where he was like paying him for his horses and like the dead cattle or whatever. But then he also seemed to see himself as completely evil. And I don't think that, like, I don't know. I was trying to jail those.
They're
and
not
figure out-
necessarily congruous. Yeah.
I was trying to figure out how he saw himself and what he, or like who he thought he was.
Yeah. I mean, he's a fascinating character for sure.
Yeah, I think he's super like gray. I don't think he has as much of a hard, strict like moral code. Whereas I think Charlie has a very strict moral code. It's just not a good one.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of hard to predict what Ben's going to do. It's pretty easy to predict what Charlie's going to do.
Mm-hmm. Zach, you've been quiet for a little bit.
I also liked Ben Foster in this movie. Liked him a lot. When the first time I saw this movie, he was my favorite character.
Really?
Well, I mean, as a kid, because he's like the most animated and like.
Oh,
kinda
yeah.
Yeah. He does the
top,
most
you know?
shooting.
He's the most vibrant.
Yeah, exactly.
Vibrant character for sure.
Yeah. But I still like him a lot. I remember thinking like this guy, Ben Foster, this guy's gonna be like the next big thing. Like he's gonna start getting booked in some big roles, and that just like didn't really happen.
I think that's pretty funny that you thought that as a kid.
Why?
That's just not a thought I ever would have had, as a, like thinking, oh wow, this actor, this guy, he's the thing. He's gonna be in everything.
I bought a lot of Ben Foster stock.
Yeah,
I went out to watch a pretty bad Dennis Quaid movie that he was in.
yeah.
Frequency.
It wasn't Frequency. Is Pandorum, I think. I don't
Can't believe that didn't come up when we were talking about Dennis Quaid last week.
I forgot he was in it. Till we started talking about Ben Foster.
But like, I feel like when I watched a movie, like I wasn't like, man, Mark Hamill was awesome. I was like, dude, Luke Skywalker, that guy's awesome. And I wasn't thinking like Mark Hamill's gonna have a great career. I guess that's a bad example because that was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
But
back when you watched Star Wars for the first time in theaters.
When but like, I'm trying to think, but like something like it's a funny thought.
I guess that is funny, and it's really true because, like I said, like I watched Batman Begins, and I was like, Christian Bale, he's awesome. I'm gonna start watching all the movies he's in, And so I went back and watched Reign of Fire, which was a terrible movie he was in.
It feels like a surprisingly, like, I don't know if it's a mature thought, but like an adult thought.
I think just like film was something that I was interested in back then, So like I started to pay attention to directors and I started to pay attention to different actors and whatnot. But Ben Foster, I think he does really well in a Western. He was in Hell or High Water, which was another neo-Western that I really liked quite a bit.
And Galveston was a little bit of a neo-Western too.
I never saw that one. He was also in another Western with Christian Bale, Hostels, which I have not watched yet, but it's on my list. I've been meaning to watch it.
I've been following Ben Foster since 2002. I was 12, and I saw a movie called Big Trouble starring Tim. Tim
Roth?
Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Tim Allen?
Allen. Tim Allen, starring Tim Allen.
Can we get the grunt in here, please?
Nice. And he was a kid at the time. He was a teenager, and I really liked him in that. Like, it was just a dumb, funny, sort of like a, comedy. It was a comedy of errors. The movie was a comedy of errors. And I thought he was hilarious in it. And everything that's come out that he like is in it, I've always gone out of my way to watch it because I really like him a lot. But he always books like smaller roles. But I think I'm guessing it's like by design, like by choice, like because it has to be. Like he would have been. I'm sure someone with his filmography, someone's offered him a leading role in something, and
just doesn't think he can carry the film.
Yeah, maybe not can, or maybe just doesn't want to have to. Like there is something to being a supporting role where you do have a lot more like freedom to be able to like make some decisions, because like the leading man or woman is usually really on the page, and the writer and director are going to be very accurate to that. But with supporting roles, they give you a lot more like leeway to kind of find the character yourself. Typically, not all directors and not all writers, but that's kind of the typical story. And so maybe he just prefers that to like find his own way to a character.
He was recently in, I don't know if you guys have watched it, Emancipation.
I haven't seen it yet, but I knew he was in it.
Yeah, he's the main bad guy in Emancipation, and it was really good.
I'll be honest. I feel like I'm having a hard time watching Will Smith stuff after the Chris Rock slap.
Really?
I can't look at him the same.
I'm a little the same way.
I think I am too.
I don't even think about it.
Ben Foster was also in a recent movie that I had a good time with called Hustle. Adam Sandler movie.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoyed him in that.
Than Adam Sandler gets with Jennifer Aniston.
Different.
No.
That's after the Magic Tuna.
It's more the Uncut Gems era of Adam Sandler.
Okay.
Not so much the early 2000s.
You know, I still have not seen Uncut Gems, and I know that it's good. I know everybody says it's great, but
I liked it a lot.
I haven't seen it either.
I mean, I don't think I've ever recommended it to anybody like, oh my God, you have to see this, but I enjoyed it.
At this point, Jake, let's just wait 3 more years and then do it on the pod.
All right. I'm down.
That sounds fair. What did you guys think about little baby boy Logan Lerman in this?
Oh, he made me so mad the whole
Really?
movie.
Okay, tell me why.
It's just like I guess I don't know. I couldn't get behind his hatred of his father and his blatant disrespect and like disobedience. And it's like, I don't know, I guess because I feel like I felt so much for Christian Bale. It was so hard for me to be I just didn't feel like he deserved this from his son. Like, I get that, like,
even by the end when Christian Bale explains it.
By the end, when Logan Lerman comes around, is that what you're saying?
No. When Christian Bale explains, you try telling, this story to your son and see how he looks at you then.
I don't think he had ever told him. I took that as he never had told him that story.
No, he did tell him that story.
Okay.
That's why his son, the entire time, you're like, why is one son like talking about him like he's a hero and the other son not? And you get to the end and you find out like, oh, he decided to tell his oldest son the truth about his war injury, and his son has, up until that point, not respected him. And that's his core motivation for wanting to do this, is because he wants to redeem himself in his son's eyes.
I had read that a little differently. I had thought that he personally was ashamed of it, and that he knew that his son didn't think well of him because of their station and their status in life, and that he wanted a story his son could tell, or he could tell to his son. But I had thought that he hadn't told him.
That was my read too, actually. But I'd need to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, I took it the way Tyler did.
I would say watch that scene again, that dialogue. But I think what I took away from that dialogue was, oh, that's why he's such a little punk to his dad, is because his dad told him and
we could listen to it again. It was our opening dialogue.
Was it?
Yeah, that's what we did.
Play it back, right back one time.
Monsieur Neri, please.
That was the wrong movie. Hold on.
I had never been no hero, Wade. Only battle I seen. We was in retreat. My foot got shot off by one of my own men. You try telling that story to your boy. See how he looks at you then.
I don't feel like I've changed my opinion, but I feel like I can see why you read it that way.
Yeah, I feel like it's inconclusive.
Yeah. But he had just upset me the whole movie most of the time. And I felt like he was supposed to upset me the whole movie, and then he was going to come around.
He was
was
an
the
annoying
point,
kid, and I think Logan Lerman did a good job in that role.
Yeah,
He does great at that every movie he's in.
Always being an annoying kid.
Yeah.
The hateable kid.
What else?
Everything.
Percy Jackson. I'm just kidding.
I didn't think he was hateable in Wallflower.
No.
I honestly don't remember his
When he
role in
played
Wallflower.
D'Artagnan in Three
We
Musketeers.
watched it for the pod.
No, I remember watching the movie.
You just
Which
don't
role?
remember.
Was he the main character?
He's the main character.
So
Scott.
David Bowie.
He was in a movie a little while ago called Stuck in Love that I'm obsessed with.
I haven't seen it.
It's a total B movie, romance.
Is that with Nat Wolff, the Naked Brothers band kid?
No, it's Greg Kinnear stars in it.
I do like Greg Kinnear.
I do too. I really like Greg Kinnear. But it's about writers. It's a family of writers, which every time I watch it, it actually inspires me to want to sit down and write something. So I kind of save watching it for when I feel like I want to write something, but I don't feel motivated or inspired. I'll watch that and then I'll sit down and write something.
Nat Wolff is in it.
Oh, my bad.
Don't you dare question
But I
that.
don't remember Logan Lerman in that movie.
He was the sister's boyfriend.
It's been a while. I only remember Nat Wolff.
Was he an annoying kid?
I didn't know that this guy was in Naked Brothers band, to be honest with you.
He's one of the Naked Brothers.
Interesting.
Logan,
How clothed is he?
he's clothed the entire time.
0%. 0% clothed.
On a scale of anime to 100, how
Close,
how
much
close
closer
is he?
to 100.
like first episode of Dragon Ball Goku.
Logan, I liked Logan Lerman in Fury.
Oh, I liked him a ton in Fury
I still haven't
too.
seen Fury.
I haven't seen Fury either.
Ooh, that's getting close to qualifying. For the pod.
I think it already is. I think it was 2017.
I don't know. I was still in college when it came out. Was I? I was in college in 2017. Oof. All right. But I remember I was in college and then
2014.
Oh wow.
they were giving out free tickets to see an early screening of Fury. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. And then it was a 3-hour long line to waiting for the tickets. And I was like, you know what? I don't need to see it that bad. And then I just never saw it.
I've seen it a few times. I like it. I put it up there with, I frankly put it up there with Saving Private Ryan in terms of war movies.
I remember you saying that. And I remember thinking, I'm going to have to watch it because Tyler said that. And then I still never got around to it. I just can't, for some reason, can't get around to seeing it.
Fury has Shia LaBeouf in it, right?
Yeah.
I think he's the
I had heard
lead.
negative things about
Brad Pitt.
him in the movie at the time, and I just never got around to it.
No. He was actually terrific in it. It was kind of the turn of the page for him, but before that, he had been a laughingstock for years. And so this was like, this turned the page because he did this, he did Honey Boy, he did, a few other things that were like, oh man, no, like he's a really serious actor. He's a really serious storyteller. Yeah, I thought he was terrific. And he actually is probably my favorite part of Fury.
So he fell off after Even Stevens and then came back with Fury. Is that what you're telling me?
That's what I'm saying.
Brad Pitt's in Fury too, right?
Yeah, Brad Pitt's the lead.
Scott really does not listen to
Yeah,
us.
we just said that.
Oh, I was looking at this. I wasn't paying attention. I'm the first to admit it.
No, I really liked Logan Lerman in this movie. I thought, frankly, like trying to play with guys like Fonda and Bale and Crow and even Alan Tudyk, like these are all extremely seasoned professionals. And to be that young and to like hold screen time well with them is impressive to me.
Me not liking the character is not me not liking
Totally.
Logan Lerman.
Yeah, I know.
The character made me mad, but I think he did exactly what he set out to do and what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hated the character. I'm sure he did a good job of delivering what he was supposed to.
I'm curious now. I might have to have someone vamp about something.
I got it. So Shia LaBeouf, if there's ever a Post Malone biography movie, I think
You think Shia LaBeouf?
Shia should.
Really?
I think they look similar.
I feel like
you slap.
other than him white and with a beard, I
feel like you slap some of Post Malone's
face
tattoos
tattoos?
on them, and they could easily be.
Shia
brothers.
LaBeouf doesn't look like he smells bad enough to be Post Malone.
You think Shia LaBeouf looks worse than Post Malone?
No, I think Shia LaBeouf looks better than Post Malone.
You think Post
You're
Malone?
saying Post Malone looks like he smells worse.
Yeah, he looks like Post Malone looks like he stinks.
Shia would have to gain a little bit of weight.
Yeah, he would have to
I'm
put on
sure
some pounds.
Yeah.
Which he
I
could
could
do.
see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
seems like
I
he'd
think
do
he
it.
could do it.
He could do it very well.
I'd rather see the actual Cannibal Shia LaBeouf movie from the song.
Cannibal Shia LaBeouf movie?
We've watched this video
It's a
together.
YouTube video from a long
I don't
time ago.
remember.
All right.
So I had
Was
to
that
look
enough
at,
vamping?
yeah, I had to look it
Tyler's
up.
got a calculator open.
I know. I had to look it up and do math that I didn't feel confident that I could be quick enough in order to jump back in if I needed to. But Logan Lerman was 15
Wow.
when this movie released. So he was probably 14 filming.
So he was the age he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I feel like that very rarely
Very
happens.
rarely.
Yeah.
Very rarely. And that was why I was like, I'm curious, like, was he really 17 or 18, like 19 maybe even? No, he was actually the age of the character.
I don't know much about actors, but I feel like me personally, if I had to act with Christian Bale as a 14-year-old, I would be very afraid.
Me too. Me too. And on screen with the terrifying villain that Ben Foster was playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that would be like not only just the acting, but it would just be intimidating. Even if you got into the role, it would be very intimidating.
Is James Mangold an underrated director for us? Because
I don't know what else he's done.
We've
I think
never
a
done him
good-
before.
Well, sorry, I don't mean like historically for us, but I mean just like in America. Like,
Can you give me some examples of what he's done?
oh yeah, but hold on. I was gonna say like I think a good director can provoke good performances from his actors, and we're singing praises to 15-year-old Logan Lerman and all these different performances that were in this movie that we're really, really fond of. And maybe we need to give James Mangold a little bit more recognition. He did Ford v Ferrari, which is a movie I really, really
Terrific.
liked.
I
haven't seen it.
Loved that movie.
It was terrific.
And he did Logan,
Yeah.
I really liked Logan.
but he also did the Wolverine. So
Can't win them all.
Yeah, was not as good.
he did Girl Interrupted. I haven't seen it.
Walk the Line.
Yeah, Walk the Line. I think people liked that movie.
Do you want to know
definitely.
what's crazy? Is on my way over here today, I've never seen Walk the Line. That's the Johnny Cash movie. I assume. I was thinking about what a weird casting choice Joaquin Phoenix was to play Johnny Cash when I got in my car
That's funny.
today, and I don't know why because I've never even seen that movie.
Well, I'll tell you what, it actually makes sense if you watch it.
Really?
Like he pulls it off.
Yeah, I was thinking. I was like, man, if you got me every actor, I don't even think Joaquin Phoenix would be my top 100 to play Johnny Cash.
Does that make more sense to you than Michael Shannon playing Elvis? Because that was something
That
I
probably
didn't know
does make
happened
more
till
sense
today.
to me. Yeah, but that looked awful.
Yeah, I didn't know about that movie until today, and I saw a still of Michael Shannon in the Elvis costume, and he looked terrible.
I have an interesting Michael Shannon, not that interesting, but funny Michael Shannon story. So you guys are familiar with the Giga Chad meme?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, somebody in my Dungeons and Dragons group was like, "Oh, I hate the Giga Chad guy," and then we were like, "Who is your Giga Chad?" And she said, "The guy that played Elvis." And I was like, I couldn't think of anybody that has farther from Giga Chad energy than what's his name, Michael Shannon.
Oh, but she meant the new one.
Is that not the new one?
Which Elvis
No.
is she talking about?
Well, what's the new one?
Is this the first time that you're learning that there was an Elvis movie made last year starring Austin Butler that was nominated for Best
That was the
Picture?
one I was thinking of, Austin Butler. Who's the other guy?
Oh, Michael Shannon.
What
That's
was
not
the
Michael
other
Shannon.
Elvis movie?
Michael Shannon is a much older man.
What was the other Elvis movie?
It's called Elvis and Nixon, starring Kevin Spacey and Michael
Elvis
Shannon.
and Nixon?
Yes.
This is Michael Shannon.
Oh, he's probably worse.
He's definitely not Giga Chad, but
Yeah.
Austin Butler feels Chadish to me.
No, I could.
Also,
he's
I
got-
don't understand the question. Who is your Giga Chad? What does that mean?
Spacey was
she just
Nixon.
she just didn't like the guy that is the
tracks.
Giga Chad guy.
Austin Butler's the Giga Chad guy?
No, never mind.
I don't even know what the Giga Chad.
Yeah,
You don't know what
was,
you
so I
Google
don't.
Giga Chad and you see the big guy, the ripped guy with the huge chin and the huge muscles.
Google Giga Chad.
We'll
But
put
Giga
this.
Chad
We'll
is
put this on video. We'll
Yeah.
put this search on video.
Giga Chad is like an idea as well as this guy, I would say. So like when you have your idea of Giga Chad, she said Austin Butler, and I
So when she thinks of Austin Butler, this is what she thinks of.
Yeah.
I guess I was.
I want to be Giga Chad.
Yeah.
Can you Google Michael Shannon Elvis? Also, I still don't understand the connection to Giga Chad and Austin Butler.
That was where she's like, I don't like the look of that guy. Like that guy is not the embodiment of the idea of what a Giga Chad is to me.
Oh, so he's like the anti-Giga Chad
To
her.
me, no.
Oh, to you said that.
So
So you
her,
hate Austin Butler?
No, I just don't
Just
think he has
image
Giga
search
Chad energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have no feelings either way about Austin Butler.
Oof.
That's worse.
That's
That's so
pretty
much
bad.
worse.
So bad. Austin Butler was a much more flattering Elvis.
I thought Austin Butler was good in Elvis.
I think so
I
too.
thought he was a good Elvis.
I haven't seen it, but
I didn't
he
think
looks.
I didn't think it was a great movie, but I thought Austin Butler was very good in it.
Do you know what? Honestly, maybe I just think Elvis looks weird.
How do you guys feel about
He
that?
did,
There's a
yeah.
scientific explanation for why Austin Butler still talks like Elvis.
I'd like to hear it because I haven't heard a compelling reason why he's still talking like Elvis.
I'll be honest. I didn't know he was still talking like Elvis.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying.
Do you want me to read this article while you guys keep talking?
No. We'd rather not. What about the just overall story? Like Jake, you had kind of mentioned that, I think you had mentioned that you didn't maybe particularly buy the ending.
Yeah, I think like it didn't necessarily bother me. Like I liked the movie still. That ending point, I was like, well, that's weird. Like I don't know that I buy it, but I'm gonna put it aside. And I still like the movie. But now that we heard what Russell Crowe said, I think I buy the ending
Even
now.
more.
Yeah, and so I think I like the movie even better.
That's good.
I love the ending.
I really love the ending. I love the moment, or I guess I love the moment in between Russell Crowe or Ben strangling Dan and then like them escaping together kind of a thing from that point on.
Wait, sorry, which?
Like when Ben strangles
Ben is Russell
Dan-
Crowe.
From
Dan
our-
is Christian
our
Bale.
opening soundbite.
Ben Russell Crowe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking Ben Foster.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Strangles Dan. And then from that point on, they're escaping together. Like that whole like running across the rooftop
Yes.
sequence. I am so invested in the movie at that point and several other points, but like that scene in particular is like my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, and like I guess I shouldn't say like it was an ending that like almost like you think like, oh, it would have been cool if that happened, but I
Sure.
don't think it would have happened.
Right,
You know?
right.
So like it's not to say I didn't like that happened.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel like what I thought would have happened.
Right.
You know?
Right. Totally.
I liked that a lot. And I think, plenty of movies have fun action set pieces, but if you can make me emotionally invested in it, then it's just so much more enjoyable. And this movie gave me such a compelling reason to be emotionally invested in that part of the movie. And so it's one of my favorite parts of this movie.
Scott, story overall, like, you had kind of said that your palate has evolved, a little bit over as you've gotten older.
Yeah, now I'm into like just much better things like Too Fast, Too Furious,
3 Fast, 3 Furious,
4 Fast, 4 Furious,
5 Fast, 5 Furious,
6 Fast, 6 Furious,
and then not so much 7 Fast, 7 Furious.
and then the Furious 7.
Yeah. And then the Fate of the 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's just the Fate of the 8 is what we're going to call it.
Is that not what it's called?
It's called Fate of the Furious. But it's like F8 of the Furious. Yeah.
But I like Fate of the 8 quite a bit.
Fate of the 8. Sorry, what was your question?
You said that your palate's evolved a little bit more. What do you think overall of this story? Like the story structure of this movie?
Yeah, I mean, I really like it. I was bought in every act. I was bought in. And I feel like I was feeling exactly what the director wanted me to feel about each of the characters, as like he moved me along exactly how he wanted to. Like I must have been his like ideal audience member because I just bought into every single thing he threw at me with this movie.
It's kind of interesting. I agree. I love the story on its head, and it's kind of funny. I learned that the novel or novella, it was only like 16 pages or something like that in its original form. It was published in the 1950s, and the author got paid like $500 for the story to get published.
They gave him the old West. Oh, he paid for the story to get published?
No. They paid him $500 to publish the story.
They gave him the Old West pricing.
That's right. And then Columbia Pictures gave him $4,000 for the initial movie.
Jeez.
Yeah. So he went on, like, he's a New York Times bestselling author. Like, he went on to make, he's, I guess, like, one of the, like, up there with Louis L'Amour and one of the great Western writers of America. But didn't make a lot of money off this. But I was listening to an interview with him, and his book starts when they get to contention.
Really?
Yeah. So his book doesn't have any of the backstory of getting from Bixby to contention, and the character, development along the way, or anything about the railroad.
I wonder how compelling that story was.
I mean, it was compelling enough to get picked up as a movie the first time and get remade again.
How,
just on its nose.
Has anybody seen the first one, the original?
I haven't.
I think I did, but now it's blurring together with something with Jeff Bridges. So,
yeah, I mean, I love how they developed this story out, how they teased it out. And it was interesting to me, the director, Mangold, was talking about how Westerns and sci-fi are unique in that you can cover really heavy social topics and no one feels like they're getting slapped in the face with it. Because for him, he's like, we can introduce racism in America and how that plays out. And we can also introduce class societal structures, poverty issues. And no one feels slapped in the face with it's not a cause movie because it's a Western. It's fantastical. It's, set in a world that I can't relate to in any way.
Yeah. And I think so much so that unless you really think about it, you wouldn't even necessarily think that you were being hit with a message.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. It's weird. I've never thought about that before, and I think he's correct.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
And it's kind of cool. He was excited to make this movie because he felt Westerns, in his words, some people for a while treated Westerns. And when I say for a while, I think, Jake, he's in line with you of in the 90s and 2000s. People treated Westerns like period pieces. Mm-hmm. And he's like, but they're not a period piece. It's a genre entirely of its own.
Yeah.
And he really sought out to like kind of try and pay homage to the Western genre, but in, with modern technology and
and I think
a new way.
Yeah, like I think like that's even more evidenced in like there are movies that are not at all period pieces that are considered Westerns, like No Country for Old Men or even Star Wars.
Right.
That you would get put into the Western genre. Even
Is
though,
Star Wars a Western?
a lot of people will call like A New Hope, at least, will call that a Western.
And
Space Western.
And I would imagine Solo probably also fits
I haven't
kind of in
seen
a
Solo.
Western.
Solo felt like it was trying to be a Western.
Yeah.
I watched about 15 minutes of Solo and turned it off.
And Mandalorian
for
is
sure
a like Mandalorian, like what Favreau has said multiple times, that like Mandalorian is a Western.
It's so influenced by everything.
Oh,
Western.
yeah.
And that's why I've been kind
Very
of
Sergio Leone.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I love every bit of it.
I like The Mandalorian a lot, and I've been enjoying it. I haven't watched any of this season yet.
Oh, it's
You guys
pretty
both
good.
like it? Really?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't watched it
I'm
yet
up to
either
date.
because I'm waiting to binge it. Like with season 2, I couldn't handle the wait in between, so I'm literally just waiting to binge it.
I didn't enjoy it really at all.
I like. Oh, really?
Yeah.
You watched
I
just
think
the
that-
first season?
I did just watch the first season.
Mandalorian
I
is
didn't like
some
it.
of my favorite Star Wars content, I think. But I didn't think that we would get to the point where I'm like, man, there's too much Star Wars out there. I'm a little bit like, can we take a break? Which is, I think, why I haven't watched The Mandalorian yet. But I kind of like the return to weekly release television in some places where, like, I feel like when you drop a whole season of something, like you lose the social aspect of TV. Where, like, I remember when Game of Thrones was coming out, I would come into work on a Monday, and then when everybody on my team got in,
It's a water cooler show.
yeah. Like, did you watch Game of Thrones? And we would talk about Game of Thrones for like probably 20 minutes. But when a season drops, it's like, well, I only watched 5 episodes. Well, I finished it, and you just can't talk about it.
Or you finished it in a week, and so 2 weeks later, you're already watching something else, and so it just feels significant for such a shorter amount of time.
Yeah. So like I think there are certain shows that like I like both, but I am enjoying the return to weekly TV.
That's awesome. The last thing that I really thought about this that I wanted to talk about was the line between like really intense drama and action that this movie I feel like toes. Because there are times where I'm like, I'm watching an action movie. And then there are long stretches of time where I'm like, I'm not watching an action movie, Like you think about it, there's only a couple, like the stagecoach sequence, and then maybe the shootout at the end and the railway chase sequence. Like those 3 are really like high-packed action sequences with a lot of in-camera effects and executed really well. And it's like a cowboy shoot 'em up kind of a thing. But then there are these long sequences where we're just sitting around a campfire or we're sitting in the hotel room, and it's just character-driven dramatic exposition that is really compelling to me. And it's fun for me that a movie can do both of those things so well, and it feels seamless. Like it doesn't feel like,
And I feel like you guys will disagree considering some of the Westerns that I've picked and that I've liked, but I feel like that is like a hallmark of a very good Western.
No, I completely agree with you that my thought was like that feels appropriate to the Western genre.
Yeah. Where and maybe that's why one of the reasons why this movie worked for me, where other 2000s movies didn't. But I feel like that is like there's action, and then there's a lot of not action, and both of them feel right and natural.
That's a good point. You're probably right about that.
Yeah, it's just like Too Fast, Too Furious.
Classic Western.
How dare you? How dare you? Okay, actually, I did have one last thing. Alan Tudyk. I forgot he was in this movie. He doesn't have a huge role, but he does such a good job in that role.
I like Alan
He
Tudyk.
still has a bigger role than Luke Wilson.
That's true. And I also totally forgot it until I was like, is that Luke Wilson?
Wait,
I had
where was
that-
Luke
why
Wilson?
Luke
in this?
Wilson was in the mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, and I had
On the
that
railroad.
moment. Yeah, but I was
He was the guy shocking Ben.
He's the guy where he's like,
I had that moment, but I was on a plane, and so I couldn't Google it, and I was like, that can't be Luke. and then he dies. I'm like, there's no way that Luke Wilson was in that small of a role. And then I landed, and it was the first thing I did was I Googled I looked up the IMDb to find Luke Wilson.
you guys some sort of posse?
Crazy.
Luke Wilson's one of those people that I just can't take serious.
Really?
Yeah.
How often are you needing to take him seriously? I feel like more often than not, he's like in comedies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you take
But,
him
like-
seriously in Royal Tenenbaums?
Scott doesn't remember.
It's so
Royal
hard to
Tenenbaums.
remember.
You liked it. I'll remind you that.
I think I liked it more than some of the other that he's directed. Wouldn't say I liked it.
He was
You said you liked it.
Luke Wilson.
Did I say that?
I celebrate
in
you
Royal
did say you
Tenenbaums
did. Yeah.
was the tennis player, and he was always wearing a sweatband.
Yeah. Well, no, but like even in some of his comedies, he plays like the straight guy,
Yeah, he does. He usually plays the straight man.
and even those, like, I'm like, you're such like a goober. Like,
Yeah.
he just like strikes me as a goober, like who he is in like Idiocracy.
right.
I'm like that. That's how I just see him.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think I've seen Idiocracy.
I
I don't know if that's worth a podcast nom, but I know it's famous.
It's,
feel like
it's
it's
a really big.
I feel like it's
movie,
kind of
but it's
iconic.
not good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not good.
I mean, I'll nom it. I should have done it this year to just throw it in with all my trash bags. But
But you ran out of room.
I ran out of room because there's so many.
I'm
Fast and
too
Furious
invested
movies.
in the FCU. I wouldn't.
What
have
would you do if I
liked
got all the way to
interruption.
the end and the last one, I just was like, nah, I'm done.
I would thank God.
I'll be honest.
I'd be frustrated.
I wouldn't watch the last one if you didn't pick it.
I would thank God that I didn't have to.
We're
it.
doing
I guess like unless something really changes this year. Like I was thinking about this last night about how much worse it is that we're not that I'm not watching all the Fast and the Furiouses in like a month. Like 2023 is the year of Fast and Furious for me.
That's so much better to
So
me.
much better to me than
Yeah, like
trying to watch them all.
Like I don't know. Like I feel like if I watched them and I was like I'm gonna watch the Fast and the Furious and it was over, you know, like
We could.
but like I don't want
No.
that because I think it's funnier to do it this way. But I like when I look back on my life, if I think about 2023, I'm going to have to think about Fast and Furious at every point of 2023.
I like that it's separated solely because we would run out of content to talk about so quick if we were just doing them back to back to back.
No, 100%.
But we could. I don't think we'll ever have a reason to do this ever again because there's no more sagas that have this many movies that we can review. But like we could do like first 2 months are my movies, second 2 months are your movies, next 2 months are Zach's movies, next 2 months are Tyler's movies.
I think that'd be a really bad idea.
So we could just trash on one person for a month.
That
Or
sounds like I'm gonna be very hurt.
For those 2 months.
Yeah,
Yeah, but the other 6 months are great.
that's fair.
Are they though?
What do you guys?
Can you imagine having? Okay, I know you don't like a lot of my picks. Can you imagine having to watch all of my picks in 2 months?
I could. It's the same as watching just one.
What? No, it's not.
Yeah, that's how miserable just one of his picks is.
It feels like you're watching 6 movies.
Scott did not like next week's movie. I'm taking it.
That's what I'm guessing as well. What do you guys say we put this one to bed?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I got to pee pretty bad. So
All right, Tyler, you're up first.
I'm gonna give this a 7.9 Hands of God.
I don't know who to go to, Jake or Zach. Who's gonna like it least? Zach.
I'll give this 7.8 Cowboys.
Jake.
That was very lazy, but all right.
I think it's pretty crazy that you didn't know who was. You really haven't been paying attention. You didn't know who was going to like it more. I'm going to give this like an 8.2 feet shot off.
I did guess right then.
Yeah, but you like it's crazy that you had to think about it.
What's it?
Yeah.
You didn't talk that positively about it.
I immediately, I was
Yeah,
like, I
and I
liked
also
this
didn't-
movie and I thought it was a
And
great
Zach
time.
didn't talk that negatively about it.
Sure, but
there's
like-
only a 4-point discrepancy between us.
Point
Yeah.
four.
Or 0.4, yeah.
But let's say like you know about a movie and you know that it's a Western and you're asking, does Jake or Zach like it more?
I feel like more often than not, I will rate things higher than you will.
Really?
Yeah.
You're just more forgiving, you think?
I think I nitpick less than you do.
All right, that's fair.
I'm going to give this 8.9 dead dads.
Whoa, 8.9.
He told us that he was going to rate this pretty high.
He did.
Oh, I must have not been listening then.
Well, that's very Scott of you.
It is.
That's big Scott energy right there.
So this comes out to an 83%. Once again, the Rotten Tomatoes gave it 89%. IMDb gave it 7.7. So we're right in the middle between the two of them at 83%.
Hey, let's go.
And
For whatever reason, our form broke, and so we don't know what place this is. There's no way that's correct, is it?
it comes out to movie number 40
Wow.
out of 129.
It's a good movie.
Hey, that's a honestly higher than I anticipated for this movie. I was pretty bummed about 3 Billboards, and I was nervous about 310 to Yuma.
At this point, it's our highest rated movie of season 4.
Wow.
I didn't
By
have
1%.
I didn't have very much doubt that I was gonna like this movie. Like I had a little bit of doubt, but I figured I was gonna like it.
I was pretty nervous. And I like that we're all, I mean, Scott's an impressive outlier, but the rest of us are pretty close in line with one another. All right. Well, where are we going next week?
We're going to me.
Coos.
We're picking my yearly Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Dude, I think this episode's just going to be effed up.